Welcome, everybody, as another night of Disney Dialogues with my partner in crime, Miss Monterey Molly. Jen, how are you this evening?
I'm great. I'm so great. I've been looking forward to this interview for weeks now, and
hmm
I can't believe it's finally here.
We talked about sitting down with Bill, probably over a year ago. We sat back and said, people that we would really love to get. We do so many great, incredible Disney fine art artists and sculptors. We've gotten umpteen authors, Imagineers. I don't know. We've had 6, 8 Imagineers already, including Bob Weiss, one of the most influential Imagineers to ever be. And now we're adding in musicians and, of course, probably one of the best at cosplay that I've seen out there, and the fact that he has a passion for Disney, I'm really excited tonight. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and we
Yep.
should let everybody know that we say hello to you all out there in the chat. We see you there coming in already. We will try to get to as many chats as we can. If you have questions for our guests, we will try to work that in and slide that in along the way. We've got a great interview lined up tonight, and please make sure you're chatting, having some fun, and enjoying what we're going to do. Jen, our guest is pretty special in what he does. Now,
Mhm.
I usually give you a bunch of pictures and all up front, but tonight I chose to do a little bit different because we're going to talk about the different segments of his cosplay throughout the interview. And I'd like for everybody to sit back and take that in because when you hear the story and the passion behind what he does, whether it's Star Wars, Marvel, Disney, DC Comics, you're going to be blown away. So, Jen, let's introduce our guest and we'll get him in here and have some fun.
All right, that sounds great. Tonight's guest is one of the most well known and highly respected cosplay and historical tribute artists in the world,
Yeah.
celebrated for his remarkable talent, authenticity, and dedication to honoring iconic characters.
Mhm.
Bill brings to life beloved characters from across iconic universes, including Marvel, Star Wars, DC Comics, and the world of Walt Disney,
Mhm.
capturing the spirit and essence of each with remarkable passion and precision.
Yes, he does.
Our guest has made memorable appearances at Disneyland events, including Dapper Day, the 70th anniversary celebration, the Oogie Boogie Bash, and the prestigious Disney D23 Expo,
Yeah.
where his passion for storytelling and character has truly shined.
Yes.
Bill's social media presence under Bill Burnz Cosplay can be found across Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, where he continues to engage and inspire a growing audience with overwhelming interaction and response. Bill's overwhelming impact on Disney guests when they encounter him in the likeness of Walt Disney is truly powerful. Many have been moved to both tears and smiles in his presence, touched by the authenticity, warmth, and magic that he brings to life.
I'm gonna jump in here for 1 second. I'm gonna jump in here for 1 second. I
Okay.
actually was watching one of his social medias, and it was one of the coolest thing I saw. He was up with the monorail, and the cast member was there. And the cast member, when he was standing, he turned around, and you could see that he realized that he felt the presence that Bill brings of Walt,
Mhm.
and the reaction of, at the same time, shock, excitement, love for the respect of Walt. You could see it in this cast member's so true and honest reaction. It was spectacular. So
Mhm.
I had to bring that up when you said that. It just reminded me of that. I'm gonna ask him about that tonight.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
It is our honor to welcome to Disney Dialogues an elite Walt Disney cosplay and historical tribute artist,
hmm
someone whose dedication, passion, and authenticity continues to inspire fans around the world. Please join us in welcoming Bill Burnz.
Bill, welcome in, sir.
Hi, hello.
It's nice to sit down with you tonight. We're excited to go through a little bit of your story and share it. One of the things that we've tried to do here with dialogues and with the channel is we know that Walt was the ultimate storyteller, and we try to honor his legacy and what he does by telling the story of our guests and utilizing that. So I'm excited. So let's kind of jump in and kind of give just a little quick, simple introduction to our audience about you, and then we can kind of get more involved with so much that you have going on after that.
Okay.
What do you got? Tell us a little introduction about yourself.
I am a husband, father, cosplayer, reenactor, artist, cancer survivor. Um, Actually, I'm an introvert. It's That's pretty much me in a nutshell. Not not a lot. I'm definitely a creative because everything I do is whether it's reenacting or cosplay or art, it's my passion. It's the one thing I've kept at it since I could walk,
I love it.
and um, it's just that's me. Just
Uh-huh.
wanting to be creative. So
Before I go over to Jen, let me follow up real quick and say you talked about being an introvert. I'm curious about this because my brother is an extreme introvert, but
Mhm.
he was a professional wrestler, WWE type, ECW type
Wow.
thing. But he used to tell me that when he became his character, he was able to step out of that introvert and become full scale extrovert. Do you find that for you?
Yes, that's exactly true. For most people who are introverts or extreme introverts, it's a bit of therapy to be able to connect to people and humanity in general. It's You have that connection. If you're in a costume, people see you in that particular persona,
Mm-hmm.
and they're familiar with that persona, so they are expecting a reaction from that certain persona. And that way you already know you've set something comfortable between the person that you're first meeting for the first time and yourself. You've made a
Love that.
connection.
I love
So,
that. Love that. It's a great picture of you there over in Disneyland. In as your Walt persona. I love that. You're going to see many pictures, everybody, throughout the interview tonight. We'll reference a bunch of them as we go back. I'm going to turn it over to Jen and see where we're going. Up, muted.
oh, we can't hear her.
I'm
I can't
sorry.
read lips too well.
I muted. I muted. I muted her by accident. That was my fault. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. Let's go back to the beginning of your cosplay days,
Okay.
going all the way back to 2015. You've been active in it, and you also spent over 30 years as a historical reenactor, which is
Yes.
really cool. Can you share with us how these two passions have shaped your life overall? What kind of personal impact they've had on you through the years?
It has to go back to we had a theme park out here called Frontier Village. It was in San Jose, and I used to go there every summer as a kid. And they would have gunfights there and Old West shows, and I immediately fell in love wanting to do that. And skip ahead to a few years later, I'm in my mid 20s. I met a group at the San Jose Historical Museum. They welcomed me in. I started robbing trains, banks, you name it.
Cool. That's cool.
Sounds like
Never
fun.
got a dime. That turned into doing some actual historical figures. I portrayed Wyatt Earp for at least 15 years.
Oh, that's
I,
awesome.
when I was younger, I bared a very strong resemblance to a young Wyatt Earp. I had a mustache that was so big you could see it from behind. I had handlebars that
Wow.
were
Cool.
and even then, I had members of the Earp family actually ask me if I was related to them because I looked so much like him. And as time went by, the Old West sort of died out here in the Bay Area. You have, the politics and climate and whatever. And we had known about cosplay for a number of years, and we thought, well, this would be a pretty good transition. We already have costumes. Then I got a call from a friend of mine. Coincidentally, they were doing what they call fan films, and they were looking for a Commissioner Gordon to do for this Batman fan film. And my friend calls me and says, "Hey, we think you'd be great for Commissioner Gordon." I'm like, get out of here. And then I look in the mirror and I go, "Oh boy." And I looked at him and I said, "Okay, I'll do it." So I went as Commissioner Gordon, and it just kind of took off from there. We started taking him to cons, and then we started developing other cosplays, and it just kind of, the transition from reenactor to cosplay is very back and forth. It's pretty much the same sort of research and yeah, getting, costuming, and that's basically what it is. I mean, that's how they're tied in together. How it's impacted me personally, well, financially, it impacts you a lot. So,
I can imagine.
yeah, but that's why you hit a lot of thrift stores. So that's your best friend when you're a cosplayer. So
Love that. Love that. Quick question. Tell me a little bit about this picture with Mickey.
oh, that was pretty recently. That was at the 70th. We were going to DCA to see some friends, and I was talking to some friends, and somebody said Mickey's coming, and the cast member who was Mickey's handler at the night came running up to me, and Mickey was literally running towards me.
Oh
And
my
he's
gosh.
like, Walt, can somebody talk to you? I spun around, and there he is. And if you saw the video, the Mickey, they were very excited. There was foot stomping and jumping up and down, and we took pictures there. You saw the video, and then after that video, we went over to the fountain, which you see there. The cast member literally took us over there by the fountain. Mickey and I posed for the picture, and about 100 cameras and phones just lit up around us.
I love that.
Yeah, it definitely, the Disney magic is always there, and that was a clear example of, well, and I always say this, the true magic in the parks is the cast members. I don't want people to ever forget that.
Absolutely.
I do, and I'm going to be totally transparent. I do this 75% mostly for the cast members,
I love that.
and they deserve it, and it makes them happy. And I can't, if I could do more for them, I would. They are the best. They are the magic. Walt knew they were the magic, and they should always be promoted constantly.
You will not have an argument from us. I can tell you we agree with that. Every one of the cast members that goes on stage is helping to tell the story that is being played out in the parks. And when
Yep,
you embrace that and realize that, the parks become so much more magical. And we're 100%. I can also state real quick, if you're in the chat, we are dropping Bill's link for TikTok and for Insta and all. I'm telling you, go over and watch some of these videos. You will be blown away with how special they are. And I'm so grateful you put that out there. And I will add, I now want to go watch Tombstone again, because he's right. I could see the Wyatt Earp in him. I literally, I'm a huge Tombstone fan. I want to get out. I want to get out there. I loved my favorite one was the Val Kilmer one. I think that Tombstone reenactment was covered, but I could see that. I got to go look at some of your older pictures now on that. Well, let's continue our discussion here as we go. As follow up to Jen's question, which was excellent. You've expressed your deep love for Disney, DC Comics, Marvel, and Star Wars. Can you take us back to where these storytelling giants became a meaningful part of your life, and how the inspiration continued to impact you over the years?
I would say it probably goes all the way back to the 1966 Batman TV show.
Wow.
I first started, I'm that old.
I wasn't wowing that. I love the old Batman show. That was great. Adam West. Oh my God.
Adam West, yes, and that was my first exposure to Batman and the whole world of DC Comics. I'm also a Godzilla fan, so I watched all the Godzilla movies when I was a kid. And
okay,
as time went on, I started looking into the comics, and then I knew, oh, Marvel's out there too. I started out with DC, and I've been going back and forth with Marvel and DC. But from that point on, that has been my drive for everything. It's just, I'm into the whole nerd culture. It never left me.
Okay.
Yeah, it just, I can date it back as far as that, as far as 1966 Batman.
Wow. Now, could you talk to us about these two characters, which J. Jonah Jameson, that is spectacular right there. I love that. And I also love how you come to play with the Daily Bugle props and everything. Talk a little bit about that. That's awesome.
Okay, J. Jonah Jameson. He is my favorite character. He is the
Really?
one I loved. And I don't want to disappoint people out there, but when people see me as Walt, they're like, "Oh, is Walt your favorite thing to do?" And I'm like, sadly, not really. I mean, Walt's great, but JJ, when I talk about how introverts connect with characters, and it's
Uh-huh.
kind of a therapy, JJ is the person I could never be.
Oh my
You know,
gosh.
he's brash. He wants to get the job done. He's sarcastic. He's bombastic. But deep down inside, he does have a heart of gold. And I try to make that apparent. But with J. Jonah Jameson, I'm able to really springboard off of people. I have Spider-Man cosplayers come up to me and they're like, "JJ, say something absolutely horrible to me. You're a moron and an idiot. Get out of my face." And they're
Oh
like,
God,
"JJ,
it's great.
one off."
It's great. Oh my
And
gosh.
it's just JJ is become a favorite at cons. I ask when I'm about to go to cons, "Oh, are you bringing JJ? You know, we want you to be in the Spider-Man group and just scream at us." And I'm more than I'm more than happy to do it. It's just JJ is just a blast to play with. The
Uh,
other character you see there is Doctor Fate. That is a DC
DC
character, and
character.
when I first got into cosplay, it was my dream cosplay to do him. And I finally did him a few years ago. I'm going to be bringing him back, but that is my own version of the character. I try to tweak my cosplay so it doesn't look exactly like the character, so you know that you have your signature on that particular character. So,
I love it. Well, Lily's life. Ken says, "I think Bill is my new hero." There you go. I love that. Okay.
Let's take a moment and dig into some of the incredible personas that you have brought to life. You've done characters like Commissioner Gordon, Dr. Doom, Count Dooku, and, well, obviously, ultimately, Walt Disney. Can you tell us what that means to you personally and how portraying them has impacted or reflected different parts of who you are?
wow, that's a that's a that's a good question. I would have to say, like with Commissioner Gordon, he doesn't talk. I think Commissioner Gordon is probably when you cosplay different characters, like you just said, they become different facets of your personality.
Hmm.
Commissioner Gordon is probably a lot like me, very solemn, very introverted, doesn't talk a lot, knows that he wants to get a job done and he wants it done right, and he wants nobody to get hurt. Uh, Characters like we just said about Jonah, total flip side of that coin. A character like Doctor Doom, you see there. Now, Doctor Doom, sometimes we build cosplays when we get we have something called group cosplay photo shoots,
Hmm.
and they put Doctor Doom together there in a month. They said they needed a Doctor Doom for this giant Marvel cosplay they were going to do, and there was a list of characters. And I was looking at the list, and I'm like, "What the heck? I'll give Doctor Doom a shot." So I built him in about a month and a half for the photo shoot.
Wow.
It's basically where he came from. So as far
That's
as personality, I'm Doctor Doom is that's a tough one because he wants to rule the world. He thinks he can do it right, and I have no ambitions for that whatsoever.
Do you just as a quick follow up to Jen's question, which is great? Do you find it harder to work the cosplay when you're in a character that has the face fully covered and everything, or do you find that easier because you don't have any of your own inflection out there?
Great question. With the masked characters, if you go to cons, there's a lot of masked characters, of course, and my Doctor Doom and Doctor Fate and Doctor Doom are kind of my first times having to actually wear a mask for an
Uh,
extended amount of time. And you actually start not wearing it after a while. You have to take it off after a while. And it's I don't feel like I connect very much when you're
okay.
wearing a mask because you know what I mean. It's like
Yeah.
there it is, and the only thing you can do is animate yourself to that character
Hmm.
without having to use facial expressions and emotions like you can with Commissioner Gordon or Walt Disney or J. Jonah Jameson.
Right.
With the
I would get
mask,
that.
just it's pretty generic.
Okay. That's interesting. Make sure you're following all of Bill's links, everybody. We're dropping them in the chat. If you're watching the replay and can't get to the chat at the time, we will have all those links posted in the description of this video as well. If you have any questions along the way, please try to get them in. We will try to highlight along the way. I tell you what, through your incredible work in cosplay and historical reenactments, you've had the opportunity to connect with respected names like Bob Gurr, our good friend of the channel, Terry Harden, Floyd Newman, amazing person, and Don Hahn. Boy, that right there is that is the four names that could make a plaque somewhere with their efforts in Disney. How have these interactions influenced your journey? And what impact have they had on you in your life, both personally or creatively?
Well, I've known about them for a very long time now. I met all of them in that one day when we were at the Carrollwood barn.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Bob a few days before at the park, which you saw the video.
Yes.
And then the picture you see there was a few days later. I got to talk a little bit more with Bob. But the other three were there as well. And we had very short conversations, shook hands. But meeting them was just, I was in complete disbelief that I was actually meeting these people. I mean, Terry Harden, Floyd Norman, Don, these were legends, and they're real people. They're very warm. They're all extremely humble. Terry's just a firecracker. She's amazing. It's just, I'm still trying to come down that I actually met these people, and it's being an artist myself. I don't have the words for how much these people have influenced me. And I was very, very honored that they knew who I was and what I was doing. And they said they appreciated it so much. And
Terry actually mentioned meeting you on her, I think it was the day after, a couple days after, on her morning show that she does. She actually mentioned that she had met you, and I thought that was really cool. With us knowing we had you coming up on there, what was it like? I mean, obviously Bob Gurr was probably the closest to Walt. I know,
yeah.
And looking at that, what was it like to sit and talk with him, knowing you've done Walt right in front of him, and that it was somebody that he literally had direct connection to, Walt?
He apparently he knew who I was ahead of time. We had not met before that, but the video where you saw when he said that, I'm sorry, I get a little choked up when I talk about this. When he said, "I miss you," he wasn't talking about me.
Right.
He was talking about Walt, and those three words that he said, it validated everything I've been trying to do. He was the guy. He was the guy that was with Walt. He was so close to Walt. And when he said that to me, I found it very hard to keep my composure right there in the middle of the park. It was, and if you saw his eyes when I saw him, he meant it. He does miss that man a lot. And I'm glad that just for a few seconds that I could bring him back for him. And then we talked again at the barn, and I asked him, I said, "Those three words you said," and he says, "Yeah." He said, "I meant it." I said, "I miss him, and thank you."
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. If you have not yet done so and you're new to us today, Jen and I do Disney dialogues on selected Tuesday and Thursday nights. We have a full playlist out there of Imagineers, artists, authors, and now adding in to us one of the greatest cosplay representation out there with Bill. Please check out the playlist and hit the subscribe if you're new tonight.
I want to talk a little bit, and this is probably going to be a little emotional too, but we heard a touching story about a moment you experienced at Disneyland involving someone who had met Walt Disney as a young girl. Could you share that encounter with us and tell it how it personally impacted you? I think that would be emotional.
I had to be my second outing, I believe, as Walt. it was before that video went viral. This was like a few months before,
Hmm.
and we were somewhere on Main Street, and this woman came up to me and she said, "Can I talk to you?" And I said, "Yes, of course." And she takes my hands, both hands, and she said, "I I met Walt when I was a little girl, and I held his hands like I'm holding yours."
Oh my
And she
God.
said, "I can't thank you enough for doing this right now. She said, you've made me so happy." And you could see the tears welling up. And that was the first time that somebody had come up to me who met him and shook hands with him and hugged him. And I, I had no word. I said, um, "You're welcome. Thank you. I'm honored." And, because a few hours later, we were up at the train station and we were standing in line, and there was a gentleman. He was probably mid to late 80s,
Hmm.
and he spun around and he looked at me and he goes, "Are you him?" And "Sir," I said, "I'm whoever you'd like me to be. You're in the place to do it." And he goes, "Well, when I was 5, I saw Walt driving around in the fire truck right down their street, and then you need to get over there in the fire truck." It's just there's just been stories of people who met the man and they come up to me, and it's overwhelming, and it was at the point where I understood the assignment. I knew this meant a lot to people, and they channel into his spirit so much.
I
And
love that.
yeah.
That's an that's an awesome question, Jen. You got goosebumps from Bill's
Yeah.
answer for me. I guess
Mhm.
yeah, I'm thinking of things as we're going along because this is so inspiring and getting to hear Bill's story. It's sending off things in my head. So I'm gonna step out again. Talking, you mentioned the fire truck. Have you, as Walt, have you been in the fire truck or been in the apartment and had what type of feelings was like for you? Because that's the closest connection that I could think of for someone like all of us.
There is a picture of me in the fire truck. There is a bit of a story. When we first brought Walt out, a lot of the cast members, when we were in the Main Street area, they understood exactly what we were trying to do. We had the fire truck there. We actually were going to get the famous shot of Walt and Mickey
Mickey,
on the fire. It was Walt's last shot before he passed.
before he passed, correct?
Yes, and we had the fire truck. We were ready to go, and they were trying desperately to get Mickey to get over there, and we weren't able to get him. We went ahead and took the shot. I did take a lot of pictures in the fire truck. We drove around the hub, and we were this close to getting that famous shot.
Wow.
Um,
Uh,
and we have been in the apartment. It's that was something. It's You walk in there and he was there. There's just there's a feeling of home, and it's just I don't have the right words to describe what the feeling was in the apartment. It's just yeah.
that's okay. You know what? Your emotion tells the story for us so much. So
Right.
that's
Yeah, it's just a feeling. It's not something you can
Yeah.
describe. It's just something you feel.
yeah. Well, this is the perfect transition for us because, on our show, Jen and I love to explore the influences that shape a person's life and their creative journey. I've heard that you've drawn inspiration from wide ranging sources, including legendary comic book artists, impressionists,
Mhm.
Alphonse Mucha, and of course, Walt Disney. Could you share with our audience how these figures have inspired you and your influence? Your work and outlook, not only on their characters, but in your entire portfolio you do.
Well, I have a degree in art and illustration, of course, and I studied a lot of art histories, a lot of impressionist exhibit, a lot of but Art Deco, which was Alphonse Mucha,
Hmm.
he impressed me the most. The clean lines, the swooping because his work is much like comic book artists. It's very bold and linear and solid color, and I just love the whole Art Deco feeling and how it looks. And uh, I also had to, being a comic book fan, I collected comics for a number of years. I'm heavily influenced by a lot of those artists. Um, as far as Walt goes back to once again my childhood. I was watched. I don't know if you're familiar with The Wonderful World of Color every Sunday
Yes,
night. I
absolutely.
I watched that religiously, and you always look forward to seeing Uncle Walt every Sunday night. That's the Walt that I try to portray. That's the Walt that I grew up with,
Love that.
and every Sunday night it was just a treat to see what he was going to put up there next. You never knew, and especially when he would introduce the show.
Right.
So
That was great stuff. I love that. Jay Grubbs would like to know, have you ever been to Disney World as Walt?
I have. We went in 2023 to the Dapper Day there. Uh, we were very. They were very. They were looking. They knew we were coming. They were very pleased to have us. Um, the cast members there were just overwhelmed. They would literally drop what they were doing and run over just to talk to us.
Love that.
We went to Epcot and Magic Kingdom. We took Walt to both of those places. I found out also in Florida, it's not really good to be wearing a suit. So
Yeah.
we did a lot of shirt sleeve Walt in Walt Disney World. We're hoping to go back next year. So
Love that.
Well, our viewing audience truly values stories of perseverance and triumph. And I know you are a proud cancer survivor since 2018. You mentioned that in your intro at the beginning of our show. Would you be willing to share a bit about that journey and the battle you overcame? Your story could very well be the inspiration for someone watching tonight that they need to hear.
certainly. Okay, well, the one thing I want to say up front, if you're out there and you are struggling with cancer or any sort of disease, do not let it define you. That was the one decision I made when I was diagnosed. Of course, when I was diagnosed at the time, I was completely devastated. You think everything that you've done up to this point in your life is over and done with. It's when I was going through chemotherapy. Oddly enough, we were doing a what they call a Halloween haunt at the Winchester House in San Jose, and I was getting more emaciated. I'd lost 30 pounds. I needed help walking, and but the plus side was I looked so garish. It was great to look ghoulish in a haunted house, so that kind of worked out basically. But the reason I kept coming back to do the shows is that I don't know if at the time if you're familiar with the actor Chadwick Boseman who played the Black Panther.
Black Panther?
Yes, I had found out that the last few movies that he had done, he was going through chemotherapy, everything. And he still kept going. He kept doing these movies. He kept doing projects to the very end. And that was such a huge inspiration to me that I'm going to keep at this. I can't not do this. There are other people who are going to struggle with this. And I've got to show them that if you get through this storm, you can keep paying forward this inspiration to keep going on. And I eventually made it through all 6 rounds. The second round wasn't so great. I ended up in the ICU for 4 days. I almost passed away, yes. But it's you have got to keep fighting, and you fight till the end, because if you can't let cancer or disease define you, because You don't want to be remembered for that. You want to leave a legacy of inspiration, hope, happiness, joyfulness. And I made that commitment to myself to keep pushing on. Now, um, the cancer that I have, it was not. Um, I have what's called Waldenstrom's macroglobulinemia. It's a very rare blood cancer. It's not curable; it's treatable. And
Mhm.
yet I get tested every year to make sure my numbers are still good. And I'm 7 years free right now. So, but yeah, that's um, like I said before. Do not, if you're out there, do not let it define you. You've got to fight. There is no other options. You can't wish it away. You can't deny it. It's there. Fight it.
I love that. That's words of inspiration, Jen. Over here, we tell people quite often, you can choose to be happy. And Bill, I love that you get up every day and choose to be happy. And I do have a relation with that, with your blood cancer, because that is actually the same one my mom has.
Oh,
So
really?
yes, it is.
Wow.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that till I heard you say it. And the only reason I remember is when my mom told me the first time. I said, "That sounds like the world of Willy Wonka," trying to make her
Yep.
laugh. So that was my thing. So I love 7 years. Here's to a whole lot more, and blessings to you on that. And everybody, if you know somebody or you're going through it, heed Bill's word. It's impactful and special. Real quick before we jump over, that is a great character. I love the Blues Brothers, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was just the last Dapper Day. I had been doing well at least for the last 3 years, and my wife and I decided let's do something a little different. And she's like, "Well, what can you do?" I'm like, "Well, how about the Blues Brothers?" And she's like, "Yeah." So we threw it together, and of course we went out there. Okay, people still recognize me as Walt, but they appreciated that we were trying to do something completely different. And we had a blast being the Blues Brothers. It was so much fun, and people just really played into it. And we hope to bring them back sometime.
I love that. I love that. Well, let's talk over here, just step outside the cosplay for a second. One of those things we love with our interviews, Jen and I, discovering the incredible range of talents that our guests have. Jen, I'm going to quote her, and I hope I do this right. She loves peeling the onion to find out so much more about people. And since we've done this show,
Something like that.
we've peeled onions back to find out more about people. We've peeled onions back because we've cried, just like tonight, everybody getting a little emotional. That's a beautiful thing of the show. I understand that you're a very successful sign artist with Trader Joe's. This is one of your ones up here, which is a unique and creative role. How did you get started in that, and what was that experience like for you? And I do have another one I'll share with our audience as well.
I had spent 15 years at an ad agency before Trader Joe's, and I was laid off probably in 2003 or 2004, I believe. And we were struggling for a bit. I was measuring floors for a carpet company at the time, and I saw our Trader Joe's here was going to open up. So I went in for an interview. It was the quickest interview I'd ever had in my life. They were desperate. They asked me why I want to work for Trader Joe's. I said, well, I have some experience as an artist, and I noticed you do your own hand done signs. And before I could finish, they said, when can you start? And it just kind of took off from there. And I feel so fortunate to be able to have this job because I get to do this incredible stuff, and it's I can't say enough. I mean, the creative freedom I've had there to promote their products and do special projects for them has been amazing. And I will be 20 years with the company next year.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Trader Joe's is pretty cool stuff.
It's very cool. So I want to switch gears for a second and talk about one of Disney's most magical events, D23. Hoping to get there someday.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that you participated for it the first time last year and are planning on returning. What was that experience like for you? Did it live up to your expectations, or did it even surpass your expectations?
It was a little of both. I felt when I walked in there, you were immediately amongst family because you were all there for the same magic, the same world, the same interests, characters, movies, merchandise. Uh, it was very overwhelming. A lot of huge booths, a lot of previews and trailers, and I would have to say the only downturn about it is that a lot of people were focused on the merchandise, and the lines were incredibly long for the merchandise, and which, being first time, we didn't have, we weren't interested, but it was everything I thought it would be. And I think next year I would like to go to they have what is like they have a separate site where they do a giant show and they show you what's coming. And I think we would like to attend that next year. But D23, you're definitely amongst the Disney family. And Walt there was welcomed with open arms. And I had a funny. I want to meet I want to meet Josh Damaro, who runs the Disney parks, and I would
Yep.
like to meet Bob Iger. And there was a little funny incident when I was walking with my group of friends, and we saw Bob Iger and his group walking the other way, and we walked past each other, and Bob Iger and I locked eyes, and we're doing this, and he's like, "Nice suit," and I'm like, "Thank you." But it's just, yeah, we definitely want to go back next year.
I love that. That's we have that on this list of things we want to do for goals, and that's definitely one for that. I love that. Well, let me ask you, and that's we're going to talk about this picture too in just a minute. You brought so many incredible personas to life already, each one with its unique impact. As you look toward the future, are there any bucket list characters or historical reenactments you're still hoping to take on?
I think as far as historical reenactors, the reenactment of characters or personas, I've always wanted to give Teddy Roosevelt a try.
Oh,
And the other cosplay project I really want to give a shot at is going back to the 1966 Batman. I really want to give Cesar Romero's
Cesar
Joker a
Romero.
shot.
Yes.
Yes, that is a project I definitely want to do.
All right, now I'm really
Because I
excited.
don't I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of my cosplays center around my mustache.
They do. If you can get the
And
Romero laugh down, man, you'll have it. That would be
yep,
that would
yep.
be awesome. I love that. That's exciting. Could you share a little bit about this picture? This is, I believe, your lovely wife and you
Mhm.
together.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know where you're at, but you can tell everybody else.
That is Walt's apartment, and we are looking right out the window onto the square. Now, at the time this picture was shot, there was a scrim. They were repainting the front of the building, so we can't see anything.
Oh
There was like
boy.
it was very thinly veiled. Uh, but that is taken in Walt's apartment. Now, when we went up there, our guide, we were told that, okay, you're going to go up to the apartment. You can't take pictures with your phone. We'll have a photographer there, and we're going to give you 3 pictures. Well, the photographer there at the time took over 30 pictures
Wow.
of Walt and Lillian being in the apartment. We weren't allowed to sit down or anything, but it was just they just went nuts with all the pictures, and we're actually hoping to go back in there at some point. But
That's
it's
awesome.
yeah.
I love that.
That is so cool. That just gives me goosebumps to see that. Okay, so back in November of 2022, you were featured on Good Morning America in a
Mhm.
story that highlighted that viral video of you as Walt Disney lookalike surprising Mickey Mouse, a moment that touched so many hearts. Can you share the story behind that experience and what it was like to have your work recognized on such a global scale, such a national, on the national broadcast?
It was it was incredible. We had the video the story behind the video is it was my third outing as going as Walt Disney to Dapper Day, and we had not yet gotten a picture with Mickey. It was the third time, and we were determined to go get a picture with him finally. So we went over to the Main Street area, and we waited in line. And there was a gentleman there. Cast member's name is Elijah. I won't
Hmm.
forget it. And he's looking down at his clipboard or his tablet, and he's all, well, we're going to cut off the line. And he looks up and he goes, oh, 1 minute. Says, can you stand over there? So we went over to the Mad Hatter's near the doorway there. And so we're waiting, and Mickey's going through the rest of the crowd. And then Mickey's done, and he brings Mickey over to me. And then you saw what happened in the video. Now, at the
Yes.
time, we did the interaction with Mickey, we got our pictures. So we're walking back through the parks, and I get a text from a friend of mine, and she says, what did you guys do? And I said, we didn't do anything. And we got pictures with Mickey. I said, there is a video up there that has 1 million views. I go, we didn't shoot it. And this is, well, I'm going to find out who did. So we found the woman that shot it. She gave us a copy. By this time, it was going 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. This video started skyrocketing. And by the end of the week, it had gotten over 70 million views worldwide. And
Wow.
a couple of days later, I received an email from ABC News, and they asked if they could do an interview for Good Morning America. I'm like, okay. And we did the interview because my whole fear when I was doing Walt, I kept wondering if the parks or the company was going to have me, stop and get a cease and desist letter. I mean, we totally thought every time that we brought Walt out there that we were going to be asked to stop, and it never happened. And we're getting interviewed by a television station who Disney owns. And when we saw the interview and that Disney logo came up after the whole thing was over, I'm like, okay, I guess they're okay with it.
That's a great way to
And
find out.
yeah, and to this, I'm still apprehensive to this day that they're going to ask me to stop, but they haven't, and I'll keep doing it as long as they let me. I think I have shown I have a lot of reverence for this man. We're very protective of this portrayal. If you notice, Walt does not go to Comic Cons or any other unrelated Disney events because we are that protective of this. We can't bring Walt to a con and have a Deadpool or some other character do something crazy with Walt. We will not allow that to happen.
I
That's
I love that.
that's how much we're very protective of this.
I love that. I think it says a lot for your integrity, Bill. Um, and I applaud that. I know Jen. We kind of wanted to ask him about these pictures, and Jen actually said to me, God, we were talking last week. God, I wonder what it was like to be as Walt in the office. Bill, could you? I got to ask you because I know our audience out there is probably thinking the same thing. What was that like for you?
If there's a word between terrifying and comforting, um, I mean, you, we were in the offices where all of this happened, all the magic, all the creativity, all the meetings, you know, the cigarette smoke, because there was ashtrays in the office, of course.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And just to, I'm not great with words, but if just to be in there where he was and to look out the windows like he probably did, thinking what he's going to do next, because the man was a futurist. He kept thinking forward and looking out the window and what can I do more? What can I do better? And I tried to emulate that when I was in the office, with his mannerisms and his poses. And gosh, I wish I wish they would have let me sat in the chair, but that was not going to happen.
Uh,
um,
I love
yeah,
that.
it was.
I love that.
What I was surprised about is how dialed down the studios are. They're not outlandish. They're not, they're historical buildings. They were built in the late 40s, and they've pretty much kept the same way. And it is a working studio. So
Love that. I'm going to adjust on the fly here for the end of the show. Jen, I'm going to have you take my next question in a minute because I really want to take this question here. and I want to do this one. Spaceship Ears is a good friend of the channel, and to give you a little insight as to who he is, his grandfather is John DeCure Sr., who worked directly with Walt and who has a window in Magic Kingdom above the entrance to the Emporium, where it's the magic shop. And his father was John DeCure Jr., who worked with many of Disney and actually helped to create Spaceship Earth. So he has a little bit of legacy here with the Disney tension. He says, Walt was a showman, yet he defended authenticity. The tension shaped magic. We can't know what he'd think, but how might he respond to the care you bring in portraying him in the park he built? That's a great question.
That is a great question. How would he respond? I think the first thing he would say is like, boy, I wish I was that tall. Well, Walt was 5'10". I'm 6'5". So I think he would be tickled that he's being remembered, and in a way that I'm hoping that I'm being respectful of, because I studied many videos of him, how he moved, how he smiled, his gestures, how he reacted to people. And the tension-shaped magic, that is a great observation on Walt, because if you saw pictures of him when the park was being built, you could tell there was apprehensiveness in a lot of the pictures. You know, a lot of this, a lot of, I don't want to say worry, but is this going to work? Because as we know, Walt went through hundreds of failures.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it was always biting at him constantly, but he always persevered. And I'm hoping that my portrayal of Walt and what I have been through, that keeping perseverance and never quitting and knowing that you're going to fail and build upon that failure, I would hope Walt would recognize that.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. Whoops. How do we get over there so quickly? That jumped back on me. Bump, bump, bump. Come back over to here. Okay. It's giving me a fit right here. Jen, could you take my question? I'm going to try to play with that and see if I can get that fixed.
Yeah, of course. Something that's very timely now is Disneyland debuting its new show, Walt Disney: A Magical Life, featuring an incredibly lifelike Walt Disney animatronic that has captured the attention of fans everywhere. As someone who has spent so much time portraying Walt and honoring his legacy, what are your impressions of the show, and how did it feel to see Walt brought to life in this new way?
I did a very short review of it on my Instagram and TikTok. It was very on the spot. I think it was needed. He has to be in the park because, in my experience in the last 3 years portraying him, younger generations and children are forgetting who he is. I'll have parents come up to me and they'll bring their kid and say, can my child take a picture with you? I said, sure. And the kid will look up at me and, who's this giant man with the mustache and the suit? I have no idea who this is. And the parents will explain to them that this is the man that built the park that you're in. And I've seen this time and time again with younger children. And I think it was necessary for Disney to put this show in the park. It was completely necessary because I'm seeing firsthand that he's getting forgotten. And especially, we went to a real quick side note. We went to Tokyo in Japan.
Okay.
And the only representation of Walt in that park is the statue. There's nothing else. There's no pictures. There's not much of anything.
Wow.
Because when I brought Walt to their park, they had a pretty vague idea of who I was. But like I said, going back to Disneyland, the animatronic was needed. Yes, of course, it doesn't look exactly like him because what people don't understand, you can't judge something on your phone. a small screen, small speakers. If you have to experience that whole thing in that room, because it's the essence of Walt. It's his mannerisms. He's in that room talking with you. He's not talking at you. The way the multimedia, the set, his movement. No, it's not exactly him. I'm not exactly look like him, but if you want to feel who Walt was about and what he is and the spirit of Walt, it's a caricature of Walt. Yes, it is, but it's him. If you're a first timer in that park, see that animatronic first and then go experience the park. But
I, I'd have to say, I think they would have been better using your version than the one they look. But we'll leave that one alone right now. I'm glad it's there because it is, like you said, documenting the fact of Walt, and I agree with you. We agree with you. I know that Jen and I have talked
we
about
have to look
that, the
at it.
historical purpose.
We
So
have to look at it this way. Lincoln, how many upgrades has Lincoln had? Yes, they're
mhm.
going to improve upon this animatronic. It's what they do. Lincoln's been around for 50 plus years and they've constantly improved him. Walt will go through the same process. That's just what they do.
Bill, I also want to remind you, when you get a chance, maybe to check out the replay. There have been a ton of very nice comments about your efforts, about what you do. There was a lot of love that went into the chat when you were kind enough to open up with us about your cancer battle, and just there's also a lot of people that are finding you for the first time tonight, and I've seen some great comments with that. I want to remind everybody that you can find our guest over on Instagram. There, Bill Burnz Cosplay. There's a lot of great videos and content over there as well. His TikTok has been just look at that, 153,000 followers,
It's
3.7 million likes. That's the way to bring it. That's a party, Bill. So he also has Linktree that you can keep up with him. Also, we've dropped those links in throughout the night into the chat, and we will continue to keep that up and running, and also have all that posted in the description of the video. Jen, I know before I talk about where Bill's going to be, this is a great picture. You and I have talked about the love we have for this rabbit, and so glad it's back in. Tell us a little bit about this shot.
Oswald's my favorite.
Nice. I love to hear that. I love to hear that. Even over Steamboat Willie.
Yes, unfortunately.
I love it.
Well, the reason I think Oswald is very representative of where Disney has, where Walt has gone. I think Oswald represents loss and then reunion. And
Yeah.
it's a perfect example, and I think he needs to be very much represented because Walt lost him, and then years later Oswald came back to him, and I definitely wanted to make this short video of Walt finally getting him back, and I tried to make it as heartfelt as possible because Oswald was his first, and we say it was all started by a mouse, but it was the lucky rabbit that eventually brought it all back to Walt.
Well, I think the perseverance, Jen and I have talked about this on many nights on this channel, the perseverance that Walt had to fall on his face, to have everything taken from him in New York, to not give up and draw a picture of what eventually turned into the Mickey we know today, but I think he was so smart to listen to his wife to go from Mortimer to Mickey, that we're so lucky that we're sitting here today with Bill because of that. Wouldn't you agree, Jen?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And this kind of goes with something that Bill said just a moment ago about how people are forgetting Walt, or there's a whole generation of kids nowadays that hear the name Walt Disney, but maybe don't even realize that Walt Disney World was named after an actual person.
Great point.
So we are just so blessed to have you to bring that alive and keep it alive and bring Walt's memory front and center so that a whole new generation of kids who are now on their phones on TikTok can now be introduced to this man. Hey, he's a real person. Like, it's just, I love it. There's so much history. It's all entwined. It's the past coming together with the present.
Mhm.
My mind's blown.
Exceptionally said. Thank you. Real quick before we do a final thought, I want to let everybody know that you'll be able to keep up with Bill if you'd like. Coming up in just 4 days, he will be at GalaxyCon, which is in San Jose, California, if you're on the West Coast out that way. August 27th through September 2nd. That's a big one. Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Into September, you'll be able to find Bill at Fantasia Festival in Burbank. Jen, I need a reason to go to Burbank. I think I found it. I've been trying to get there, so I don't care. And
Okay.
November 15th to 16th. That might be something. Dapper Day weekend at Disneyland. You know, I would like, Jen, I would like to work to get a fast pass for a picture with Bill in his persona as Walt. That would make
Wow.
a whole trip. That would be amazing. So
That would be
please,
amazing.
please, guys, keep up with Bill on his Insta and his TikTok. Final thoughts of the night we always throw out for our guests, just kind of an open-ended, whatever you'd like to say here at the end. Bill, I'll let you go first.
Um, I cosplay for me and reenacting. Walt pretty much tied it all together. Now kept trying to figure out, was Walt an actual cosplay, and the term I'd heard from a fellow cosplayer who she does Marilyn Monroe and Lucille Ball, and she called them historical tributes, and I thought that was the most perfect description of what we do, and it also ties into reenacting. But when it comes to Walt, I totally understand the assignment, as they say. I know what he means to people, and I want to keep giving. I mean, I am so blessed to be able to give back to people with a hobby I dearly love. That is the best thing in the world. It's what every cosplayer wants to do. They want to share their passion for people who are familiar with their characters. Because, like I said before, there's that connection when they see you and you remind them of something from their childhood, their favorite show, their favorite pop culture thing, and you've already made that connection with that person. And you're able, and with Walt, honestly, when I'm in the park as Walt, and I don't know if I mentioned this, I never tell people I am Walt Disney in the park. I have never said it. I don't
Oh,
say hello, Disney. I've never said it. People, when they come to the parks, they bring it with them. They bring what they know. It's a magic place. If they see me dressed as Walt, it's already there for them. They're set. And it's gotten to the point where, well, I don't know if you saw my Instagram, but there was and I'll share a very short story. I had
please.
a little boy come up to me and he said, "Excuse me." And I said, "Yes. Are you Walt Disney?" And I said, "Well, are you in a place where magic and imagination and dreams can come true?" And he goes, "Yes." And then I said, "Well, what are you imagining?" And he said, "That's your Walt Disney." And then I said, "Then you're in the right place, pal."
Love it.
You know?
I love that.
But it's what they bring, and that's the bottom line. I want to give back because I understand what this man means and what it means to a lot of people, and it comes from the heart on both sides.
I love that. I love that. There's been an incredible amount of nice comments here
Hmm.
along the end, and definitely encourage you to go back and have some chance to read them later. Thank you, everybody, for that. Jen, I always go ladies first when we do our final thought.
Mhm. I want to say thank you. And not just for being on our show tonight, but thank you. But I want to say thank you for understanding the legacy of Walt and trying to portray that and in such a respectful way and a thoughtful way, and not just getting dressed up in a costume and seeing how many followers you can get by just,
Hmm.
walking around looking like this guy. You are actually taking his heart and soul and bringing it out in you by trying to portray him in the most authentic way that you can. And that is so honorable and so respectful. So, on behalf of all Disnerds that love Walt Disney and wish that we could have met him someday, thank you for bringing a little touch of, I don't want to say reality because we know it's not reality, but the closest thing that we have. That's the closest thing we have to a reality of Walt. So, I just want to say thank you for understanding the assignment and, and bringing some magic to all of us. So, yeah,
I
that's
love
all
it.
I got. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words.
I
Thank you.
I love that she's so poignantly perfect. One of these days, I'm going to learn that I cannot follow Jen when it comes to these final thoughts. It's always so amazing. I'll try to do my best here. Bill, I want to thank you for taking the time to step out of your comfort zone and come over here as Bill. And not as one of those historical recreations or characters that you bring to life out of the love. I thought it was awesome for people to see how you come together to bring those, some of the thought process behind it, to see your passion and belief in across all the characters you do. I saw that smile of happiness and pride when you talked about Jay Jonah over to, Commissioner Gordon, of course, with Walt and so many others. I can't wait to see what future brings from other characters with you. I truly hope I get to be standing with Jen and some of the people in our community that have talked about going out to Disneyland together, and happen to be a day or a day that we could witness one of these personal things firsthand. It may happen to one of us because I'm pretty sure we'll fall right into it as well. I humbly respect your battle with cancer that you've taken on. I think it's a great thing. And please don't stop looking into your art and opening that facet, because I don't think we've even seen the tip of the iceberg. Your creativity for what you do on your signs is really cool. And I think that's just the start of where you could do with that. And of course, you're a friend of the channel. You're welcome back here anytime. We'll talk more about that
Thank you.
backstage. So if you could just hang tight backstage for a second, we'll be right back with you and say goodnight to you back there. It was Jen and I always like to go out with a quick thought. Wow, wow. I've had goosebumps most of the night. You know, up muted. My
You
fault.
know, the other thing I was thinking, I'm just going to throw this in, we're off script, but it's like your mind or your eyes are tricking your mind when you
Hmm.
look at him. And like you almost are tricked into thinking it really is him. Like we haven't met Walt in person, so we don't have that to compare it to. All we have is this. So to have our eyes, like my eyes are not catching up with my mind, but I
Right.
feel it in my heart. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. When he brought up Wyatt Earp, I literally for a
Mhm,
second almost went, "Why, Wyatt? I'm your Huckleberry." I just because it was just like it's right there, and I could see him in
mhm,
the big black hat, and I could see
mhm,
and I'm like, "Oh my lord!" And after watching his
mhm,
videos and prepping for this and trying to dig more
mhm.
into it, spectacular. And more importantly, I think what we found tonight is as spectacular as his historical reenactment and cosplay is, as incredibly equal to that is the person himself, his integrity, his passion, his heart. I love it. Molly is right again. I'm used to saying that, Kate, there. So thank you for that. We should tell everybody as we say goodnight, hey, the magic continues to happen on Disney Dialogues, as we are going to sit down with an incredible, he's an actor, he was a model, he is one of Disney's top fine artists. He knows more people out there than I think most of these directors over at MGM Studios in California knows. Jen, I am truly excited about the opportunity that we get to sit down with John Coulter in just a couple days from now.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. There's some artists when you see their work, it just jumps out at you. Well, most Disney artists do, but this is an artist that I truly enjoy looking at his art. Some of my favorites.
Yes.
So I'm going to be fangirling a little bit for this one.
And I'll tell everybody, go over to his Instagram and check it out. He just put up a picture tonight, just like 5 minutes before the show. And I literally went in and just wrote spectacular. That's all I wrote. So, Jen, amazing job tonight. Thank you. Thank you to Bill for coming in again. His links have been in the chat throughout the night. Make sure you're following him and keeping up with him. If you go out to Disney, keep your eye open. You might see Walt coming around a corner and you get a chance to say hello to it. This has been Disney Dialogues. It's been my honor to sit with Jen tonight and talk with her and have a dialogue with a guest. We look forward to the next time we get to do it. Good night, everybody.